Aaron from Got a Minute. I like to say it's the end of the world. Well, it's not really the end of the world, but it's the end of an age. We're waiting here for the rapture of the church before the 7-year tribulation. And today we got some special guests on. We've got some brothers and sisters that know a few things about artificial intelligence. So we're going to discuss that. It's getting crazy. I spend a lot of time in the Bible, and I don't spend a lot of time on this topic. It's a very intriguing topic, and these guys know a thing or two. So before we get into the topic of that and how possibly close we are to some pretty wild things, remember that this is a blessed hope we're waiting for. It's not a terrifying thing. The topic itself, can make you feel a little uncomfortable, but it's something that we know that because this is coming, Jesus is coming as well. And so we want you to be on the Jesus team. And so I'll just read this classic verse here, Romans 10:9-13, and then we'll get into the topics here. So it says that if you confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For with the heart one believes unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. For the scripture says, whoever believes on him will not be put to shame, for there is no distinction between Jew and Greek, for the same Lord over all is rich to all who call upon him. For whoever calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. So, all right, let's rock this out. So we're going to bring Brother Evan on. Evan G. Hey, Evan.
Hello.
Yeah, man, good to see you. And there's Jose. How you doing, Jose?
Very good, brother. Nice to see you guys.
Right. Good to see you. Another Evan R. And Monique.
Good to see everybody.
Hey, Monique.
Hi. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Doing well.
All right, so we're all here, and these brothers and sisters we met through our Discord. So we got a study group, the Got a Minute study group on Discord. It's an app, and you can find that link in the bottom description box of underneath this video. We've had that for 5 years, and we do a lot of studying together. We talk, we chat, we encourage each other, and so yeah, us 5, we all connected through that. So check that out if you want. So we were in a study the other day, and we all got talking, and everybody was, talking about artificial intelligence, and these guys knew a thing or two. So why don't we go around the circle and just share some of the things that we were discussing the other day, and to bring some light onto artificial intelligence and some education on the matter. Maybe we'll start with Evan G and kind of go around the circle, if that's okay. And then Evan G, he was talking about his friend, and what was it called, the Plantier or something like that. Can you speak into that a bit?
Yes. It's probably giving it too much credence, but just to protect my friend a little bit, I'll just say that they had eyes on the process of putting Palantir, one of the larger AIs. I think there's a group of about 8 of them, mainly about 5 have big names, ChatGPT and whatnot. Well, Palantir is one of them, and incorporating Palantir. So actually witnessing the process of removing a server to upgrade components to put Palantir into the server room of Citibank's international data branch. So it's crazy, because this isn't just like a headline. This isn't just, I heard from somebody who heard from somebody. This is someone I've known most of my entire life and has actually seen it taking place. So like, I know, and they even recognized, was I too involved? Was I too involved in something that is what we can see as possibly being related to these end time events? I think it's very likely that it's related to end time events, but we do need to stay vigilant that anything can be a plan of an enemy to get us looking over here while he does something else. So I'll just say that as we go into AI, that we don't need to hyper focus on artificial intelligence in case it's demonic intelligence operating over here in a much more clever way. But on the face level, artificial intelligence has been brought into the international banking system physically. I'm surprised that of course we knew it was coming, but Palantir, just like many of the other AIs, is still going through this a learning process. Even the people who work with it are going through trying to keep it from making not mistakes. We would see it as mistakes, but these AIs are doing things because they're given very simple instructions and they're fulfilling those instructions by any means necessary. And so to put something with that kind of mind in charge of banking data while it's still ultimately in a prototype form is baffling. But we know for sure that at least this one particular artificial intelligence has been fully integrated into Citibank International Data Processing Center. Palantir, on the surface level, is really good at processing data and categorizing things. And if there was no evil in the world, it'd be a smart move. But there is evil in the world, and there's this little book I like to read that says that someday we won't be able to buy or sell without a particular mark. And being able to enforce that through an all-knowing artificial intelligence seems very convenient. And so I don't, again, want to hyper-focus on that, but that really seems like what we're looking at. So most of what I can add is that we definitely have artificial intelligence incorporated into international banking already.
And you said that your friend installed this about a month ago or so.
Yes.
Wow.
So it's been in there for a little while, and it was really chewing him up as far as being part of that process was heavy on him. He related it to something, but essentially was saying, did I cross my red line as far as where do you say no, that's too far, I won't do that. The idea mostly comes around with the idea of Nazi soldiers who initially, most of them joined because they were patriotic and believed a lot of what became known to be just rhetoric, but they didn't have evil intentions. But then they were asked to do something that kind of pushed the line a little bit. Hey, make sure nobody crosses such and such border. Oh, if they do, put them in such and such location. And gradually, by degrees, they're led into recognizing that they are evil men. And he was saying that his moment of, did I go too far? But I like to think of it as I'd rather have a Christian man know where the brain of this thing is, push come to shove, But it is very interesting, and I don't know a ton more about Palantir other than, if anybody's familiar, that name comes from the Lord of the Rings, and it's named after this all-seeing. It's not an eye; it's an all-seeing orb that an all-seeing eye is able to see through. But the whole point of these things is that they're called like seer stones, and they know anything. But you essentially have to approach it and have something in mind, and then it will reveal it to you. It really is a good placeholder for what we use artificial intelligence as, before Tolkien could have possibly thought about artificial intelligence really coming alive there. So it is a weird name because in the book that they're pulling from, it's used with evil intentions. So why would you name it after something that's obviously evil and all-knowing? So they're so blunt with it. It's crazy to me. Literally just call this thing Teddy Bear Jones. Like, you can call these AIs whatever you want. And instead they're like, oh yes, bad guy number 3. Like, stop it. And they're bringing that in there. I do just want to add that at the top level, they really could have the best intentions, and it is just to analyze data. The problem is that while using these artificial intelligence with good intentions, at least that they proclaim, the artificial intelligences are still doing what we recognize as bad things. They're still failing these tests. They're lying, cheating, stealing, and killing one another in these computer models. So there's not been any actual crime committed, but they're doing things that are corrupted in trying to perform their duty, because they don't recognize anything as evil. They're just trying to do their end goal. So poorly worded goals get handled by any means necessary. So incorporating that into a banking structure seems like a bad move. Just seems like a bad move.
Okay, well, thanks for giving us some of that information. We're gonna go around the circle here. I know you got a few more things to add, but we'll pass it over
Absolutely.
to Jose here. And Jose, share with us 5 2 minutes of some of your experiences and what you know about artificial intelligence.
Yeah. My story is, it started very recent. You know, I just picked up AI, pretty much last year. Pretty much from just working with companies that they're involving AI more into their processes. So I'm a director of technology, and pretty much I've seen the growth just in 1 year what AI has become, from just its infant states where companies were like allowing it to get it into the companies, to now what in 1 year, after 1 year, uh, from last year, pretty much now a lot of these tools that we interface with daily, now they have AI assistants, right? And you're gonna start seeing that a lot. You're gonna start seeing everything that you have, banking assistants, anything that you touch or see in technology is gonna have an AI assistant. Every website that you go to is gonna have a way AI assistant. So my job is to train, because that's the tsunami that's coming. My job is to train pretty much everybody, all the personnel, to make sure that they're using any tool that they're using that's AI assistant ready, so that it could give them a better use of that tool. Because any tool that doesn't have it pretty much is going to stay obsolete. They're going to have to like use the tools that are AI ready. So that's already engaging everybody into having AI experience, prompt engineering. That's going to be something that everybody's going to be involved with. Um, so like it's just being very incorporated in the workforce, and then it's going to transfer over to your lifestyle, right, to your personal life, and you're going to start like using it for your personal life too. So I see this, what's coming just in 1 year. It's going to be so fast. So AI is going to increase so much, especially with the focus that we've had with the current president. Uh, the focus of AI is it's been more intense this year, and the money they're pumping into it. All these companies, and especially Nvidia, making all these super chips. So it's really getting everything, the infrastructure ready for next year. And whoever doesn't is not ready for next year is like, it's gonna really be painful, because they should have already like started introducing this to a lot of the employees, because it takes time. People, to communicate to AI, it takes skill, it takes time and patience to experience AI the proper way, and to understand it, because people can get frustrated right away, with the output. You could get bad output, or you could get good output from it, especially how you communicate with it. So, but I've been using it, and it's definitely helped me in what I do. But it's definitely, I could see it going in a downward spiral very fast, if you and like if we are using it for good, it could really do really good stuff. But if the people that are getting their hands on this first, right, because majority of the public don't have the knowledge, or they're not even aware of what's happening. So the people that are getting involved with these technologies first, who you think they are? They're the evil ones. So what they're trying to do, they're just trying to prepare everything to make sure it, before the whole public starts using this stuff, that they're already in control of it. So you have limited access. So that's what they're planning to do. But I say to everybody, start using it now, because what about if you're a tribulation saint? You're gonna be you're gonna start seeing the tsunami of AI. Like, you could use this for your own benefit, and make sure that you're engaged and ready to like adapt to the changes that are coming. So I say I'm in between, right? For the Rapture saints and for the tribulation saints, I feel we don't be afraid of it, because it's going to be introduced in every area of our life.
When do you think that this is really going to change? Do you think next year things are going to be a dramatic change in everything that we do?
I think you're going to start seeing majority of companies, because now they're going to downscale, because they don't need the heavy workforce to do majority of the work, because they just need a slim down workforce, because AI is just, you could have instead of having 10 people, you could have 2 people doing what the 10 people used to do. Uh, so you don't need a whole workforce, and I think like that downgrade of a workforce, it's gonna be like a tug of war. Like it's gonna be people are gonna be pulling, like what I'm gonna do now is like what, and the people are gonna start. I could see people getting mad, and I feel like by the end of this year, by the beginning of next year, because we see they're probably gonna let right the Christmas season and all this, the sales, they'll leave it as it is. But in January, when things start going down, I don't think we're gonna see like a little down and then come up again. I think it's going to be a sharp down.
Okay. Okay. So you're anticipating some major changes like at the beginning of 26, and then
Yes.
just life changes in general because of
Yes.
yeah. All right. Yeah, because you were saying that things are just growing so fast and so quick.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Like, and one, I don't. It's just like everything. Everything that it's, and it's going to start in the workforce. We're seeing the workplace already changing, and that you have to adapt, and it's going to be driven by customer demand. So your customer demand, they're going to require you to that everything that they're using, because they're seeing that, oh, AI is doing this over here, so I'm not using any website that you got. If you got to go to a website and you're searching and you don't have AI assistant in your website, that people are not going to use it.
Okay. Okay. I know you got more to share, but we're gonna pass it over to Monique if she can hear me. She's kind of dark right now. I don't know. Can you hear me, Monique?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
You got. Did I
Okay, well, go
unmute?
ahead and share maybe like similar to what these guys were sharing with some of your highlights and what you know about artificial intelligence.
Well, I mean, I come from an electrical engineering background. I used to work for Hewlett Packard, and we worked on thin film substrates, so fiber optics, light wave, that kind of thing. So the thing is a lot of these processes are going to be taken over by AI, because even engineering, because it's going to teach us. That's what they want. They want this machine to teach us rather than we would teach them. And yeah, it can be used for good, but unfortunately, you have too many people who want to be at the top and in control of that. And evil forces always tend to step on everybody else's head to get to the top. So it never stays in the hands of the good for very long. So you could be creating this huge monster. And I don't know if you've heard of the D-Wave machine, but there's a D-Wave quantum. The stock price right now is $14.81. It's like that stock is climbing because people are trying to invest in that. And, you get these big corporations that are pulling all these initial public offerings, and they're getting people to invest in it, and then it just grows and grows. It's nonstop. So I feel that it is going to be maybe an image of the beast, or in some way, shape, or form, because the image is going to be whatever we prompt it to be. I think you mentioned prompts just a few minutes ago. And so who's going to put the prompts in? What prompts are we going to feed it? What is it going to, what structure is it going to follow? What kind of morals? A machine doesn't really have morals. So it could really get away from us very easily. So I'm seeing a lot of changes in the tech world, and I do see a lot of jobs being lost to AI. Maybe there'll be new ones. But here's another issue. I don't know if anybody's thought of this, but a lot of these data centers are just sucking the water out of the environment that it's taking away from a lot of the community's use of the water. It's used to cool the data centers, and that's a lot of what's harming the environment. So they say humans are creating climate change, but maybe not just because we ran our water too long to brush our teeth. It's more along the lines of things like these data centers getting cooled, and they're only going to get bigger. They're pushing communities out of the way. People are getting pushed off their land in order to make room for these data centers. So that was one of the issues that, I feel like it should be a conversation somewhere along the line. So I just wanted to put that out there. I feel like it's something we can't stop. God has this plan, and we just have to trust in the Lord to know that things are going to work out in the end, and just keep preaching and praising the Lord and sharing the gospel. And we were sharing the gospel today, out even in the work world. It's hard, but sometimes I sneak it in, I try to sneak it in without getting into too much trouble at work, but that's what we got to do. So is there anything else I should add, Aaron? Is that good for now?
Well, that's great, and then we'll pass it over to Evan, and Evan can give us his spiel, and then what you guys can do, we could all just kind of cross-examine each other. We can ask each other questions and get the conversation going between you guys, because I'm sure you guys all have more to add to it. So yeah, Evan, what's your what are you seeing out there in terms of all this technology?
Well, what's happening right now is they want to use AI for digital ID, to control digital ID. And I don't know if everybody knows what digital ID is going to be, but basically, there's a company right now called WorldCoin, and they have this thing called the orb. And what it does is it scans your iris. Your iris is more detailed than even your fingerprint. So they're using the iris right now, and a lot of people have already lined up across the world to get this done. But the idea behind the digital ID, it will be AI driven, and what it's going to do is it's going to track literally everything that you do, every aspect of your life. It's going to track your financial, your banking. It's going to track your travel. It's going to track your social media. It'll track even your health records. It's going to track everything that you do once it's fully implemented. But right now, Palantir and WorldCoin are the two top companies that are really getting into the government side of AI. Now, WorldCoin, they're more around the world, literally as it says. They're around the world, kind of based where they're already working in other countries, Thailand, Indonesia. There's a few other companies, especially in South Asia, but even in Australia. So what they're doing is they're already implementing digital ID to track everybody, and they're already starting to move away from a cash society to go to a cashless society or digital currency. Not necessarily central digital banking currency, which we all know is CBDCs, but they're moving into a digital currency age is what they're doing, and this all tracks everything. I mean, it literally is going to track everything that you do. So the digital ID, they want all this in place, and they want the whole world to start using this by 2028. Bill Gates himself came out and said that if you don't use this, you won't even be a part of society. You won't be able to be a part of society if you're not going to use this digital ID. So they want everybody to start using this. Right now, the way it works is you go in, you get scanned on this orb, and what they do is it ties to your cell phone, and then you tie all your accounts to it. You tie your bank account. You tie, if you have any credit cards, debit cards, anything like that, it's all tied to this. So
And
anywhere you go,
let me interrupt you real quick. Somebody's asking about the website. Is it called an orb? Is that what it's called?
it's called the orb. Yeah.
Orb?
Well,
Is it a website? Yeah.
Is it WorldCoin? Is what to look up?
WorldCoin. Yeah, WorldCoin.
Okay. So
Is the
WorldCoin
company.
Orb is what you're talking about.
Yeah. So they're already implementing this. It was in San Diego I don't know, like almost close to about a year ago now, where they started implementing it over in California. And so all this is all going to tie together, and it's going to track everything. Right now, it'll all be done with your phone. Eventually, just as Switzerland has done, they want to switch it over to some type of a chip that the humans can either implement in their hand or in the back of their ear, behind their ear. So if that takes place, I mean, now we're looking at what the Bible talks about there, being a mark in your hand or your forehead. And these are the things this isn't to scare people. This is just to make people aware that they're working on these systems that the Bible has talked about. And the Bible mentions all of this stuff, and they're putting these kind of things in place. What I wanted to do is I wanted to go back to Palantir for a second. As Evan was talking about Palantir, Palantir not only is business driven, but Palantir has also been implemented into the military. I don't know how many of you know, but it's called Palantir Gotham. Yeah, it's a Gotham. Is the platform, and it's been implemented into the military now. It says that it's being used for intelligence gathering, counterterrorism efforts, and battlefield analysis. The military also uses Palantir's AI-powered tools for tasks like wargaming and logistics planning. So that company is highly government funded, and it's also corporation funded, but it's highly government funded, and they're really digging into all of the systems. It's not just the banking system; they're tying it into all systems. So this is why we have to be so careful, because they're doing it under the guise of safety and security. We all know
I just want to say that anti-terrorism means we watch your habits, and if we decide those habits are not what we want, you're a terrorist. And if that ends up being congregating, then that's where it gets weaponized against Christianity.
Yeah. It's been implemented already into the Department of Defense. It's been implemented into the U.S. Army, the National Security Agency, and our intelligence agencies. And it's already they're starting to use it on the battlefield. Palantir's Gotham. So this company right now, from my understanding, is they're not doing super well stock-wise, but implementation-wise, they are really digging into a lot of stuff. They're getting very tied into things. The U.S. Army, they use it for tactical intelligence. They use its targeting, and they have what's called a tactical intelligence targeting access node. They call it Titan, which uses Palantir software. It's significant investment in AI and connectivity for future warfare. But we know now that they've already implemented this. They're already starting to use this. So what we have to look at is that if they're tying it to our personal lives, and they're tying it into the military, they're tying it into banking, we're looking at control. That's not just safety and security, that's control. They want to control every aspect of that technology. And again, the digital ID, it's all going to be tied to digital ID. And they literally want everybody to be set up for digital ID by 2028. They're saying that, we won't be able to function in society without that if we don't do it. So this whole cashless society thing, it's coming. The whole control of what you say or do on social media, it's coming. We're going to lose a lot of our freedoms to this stuff. And the point of all this is that it's all AI driven. AI literally is going to control every aspect of our lives. There's going to come a point where it will be in control of every aspect of your life. And that's scary. And these are the things that we're watching for. We want to watch for this stuff, because one of the things we're looking for is the beast system, what we call the beast system as Christians. We know it as the beast system. And, it's not just the image of the beast, which we now know that can be created. They can create any image they want, give it any voice they want. They can bring to life someone who's passed away They can bring that person back to life with AI, and we know that they can use it to confuse people. So, and there's so many different types of AI bots that have already exist. We got Chat GBT, you've got so many different AI bots that are already being used. And nowadays you could get a phone call and it could literally be your mother's voice, and it could be an AI bot, and they could tell you anything. Well, your mother's sick and she's in the hospital, and we need you to send us some money to help cover her costs. You see what I'm saying? Just as simple as that. And you thinking that your loved one is in trouble, you send money and you've just been scammed out of your money. So that's what WorldCoin is working on. They're working on trying to allow people to have a deference, or be able to tell what is AI and what is not AI. That's the whole point of the iris scan, is to try to lock it down more so it's more human. But I don't see that. What happened was, let me just tell you what happened real quick. There was already a scam done through AI where I think they said about 50,000 people's irises got scanned, and it didn't tie to their phones, to their platforms. And so basically those scans are lost. Where are those scans? What could they be used for if those people had large bank accounts? If those people had health records, if those people own businesses, and they've tied this stuff into this system, and it gets lost or it gets diverted somehow, and it doesn't get sent to where it's supposed to, which is supposed to be your phone right now, or your computer. You're supposed to be able to use that because we have facial recognition. We have thumbprint or fingerprint recognition for just about everything we do. And if they're using that data to identify people, anybody could obtain that, and then they can take over whatever you have. So you see the control or loss of control in some cases. It's not just about what they can control, but what they can lose control of. The whole thing is scary to me, to be honest with you. And I know that it makes our lives more, supposed to be making us, make everything easier for us. It's easier to pull up information. It digs deeper than a standard technology machine would do. And eventually it will be all tied into quantum computing. The speed on these things is phenomenal. And, you and I had done a video in the past about ASI, when it would eventually reach not just super AI, but it would eventually reach singularity. And that's my concern. At what point does all of this tie together, like Palantir, where they're tying all these different databases together? At what point does AI say, okay, I'm just going to control it and not allow human control anymore? That's the scary part to me, because we know that AI, there's already been AI bots that they've lost control of. There's not just chat bots, but there's actually been physical robots that have AI in them that have literally lost control. So it's a scary thought, that AI is going to be that much in control of our lives.
Can I ask how stablecoin fits into that WorldCoin? Can you speak to that?
I haven't looked into that side of it, but I could dig into it. That's something that, if you want more information on it, I could dig it up. But right now we know that WorldCoin, they're calling it the real human network. Is what they're calling it, because the idea is to identify the difference between what is an AI and what is a human being. And that's why they want to try to get everybody's irises scanned and get that information tied into your phone, so that when it does the facial recognition, it's picking up more on your iris than it is just your facial features. And it's supposed to be, again, more safe and more secure.
That's the idea. Yeah. I'll read a verse and then I'll pass it on to somebody else. I just want to read a super obvious verse. And we're in Revelation 13, the beast from the earth. And it says in Revelation 13:14, and he deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast, who was wounded by the sword and lived. And he was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. I mean, lots of images of the beast here that I'm reading here. This is the New King James Version. But, us here sitting here in 2025, we can see how maybe this is somehow tied to AI, And, but anyway, with that, why don't we kind of zip around the circle like one more time in a similar fashion, but cross-examine each other, guys, and ask each other questions, whatever you want. So, I don't know if Jose was going to say something or Evan, if you wanted to share anything.
If you got something, Jose.
No, I was just gonna answer to Evan very quick. Like, I just feel like 2020 when the vaccine, right? It feels like we're gonna be like, what's coming next year is that same type of fear that we felt in 2020 times 10. Like because I don't think and there was a lot of people, right, that feared 2020 because and then when they started announcing the vaccines and they started saying, oh, you're going to lose your job if you don't have the vaccine. Well, what's going to happen now? Oh, if you don't follow what AI is saying, you're going to lose your job. Or if you don't have AI experience, you're going to lose your job. Oh, you don't want to lose your job, so you better agree with what I guess abide to the AI, or you got to learn AI, or you got to use AI, or you got to have AI on your phone, whatever it is, right? Your workplace is going to be your introduction to that, in like just how they put the vaccines, right? A lot of people didn't want the vaccines, but we had to abide because we had to work, right? We had to maintain our living. So I think that's going to be.
That was a crazy time, wasn't it? What a crazy year that was, 2020, for a lot of people.
So I think that was just a taste, right? And because we saw the increase, right? We didn't see AI before 2020. What changed, and now what was that increase of knowledge that God is now into propelling the AI machine that has become today, and it's just so fast. Like I've never seen I've seen smartphone. I've been through technology, all these phases of technology, and this has been the fastest moving technology experience I've ever experienced in my whole career and my whole life.
Within the last year or so?
Yes.
Wow.
Like Daniel says, that it'll be an age of exploding in knowledge, and if we needed any more verses to confirm that we're in those final days, man, I mean, just everything is coming true. 2,000 years ago, and we're seeing really logical connections to an image being given breath. That's not a huge leap. Back in the day, they were whittled from wood or hammered from gold or silver. The expectation it would ever move was just a fantasy. And now it's like, if not only do I expect it, I expect people to want to buy one off of a Walmart shelf. Like a walking, talking idol. What is it, $40? Let me grab one for my child for Christmas. That it is super close. I just want to address a couple things that I've seen scroll by. Yes, we do not need to be afraid of any of this. Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. The image of the beast. If our money is the image, just like money was the image of Caesar at that time, give it over. Somebody was saying, take all your money out of the bank. You should have gave all your money away anyway. As far as like thinking in the aspect of the book of Acts, if you love anything other than God, it's going to be taken away from you. And you should be freely rendering of yourself at every opportunity. You should be giving of yourself until you're no longer able to. And so once they freeze your funds, then you're like, okay, well, I guess I have to serve in another capacity. Like, this is always, always, always good news. It's always an opportunity to serve God. Nothing is being taken from you that you need. Like, only Christ brings you life anyway. So don't be afraid of your money getting frozen. Don't be afraid of going hungry. Paul says, whenever I've got no food I'm content when I got an abundance of food. I'm content right now. It looks like this circle here, we've got an abundance of food. We all have a shelter over our head right now. We can go to we each have a refrigerator fully stocked. We are in no peril of like immediate physical distress. This is all stuff to keep an eye on. Some people are saying, "Oh, I'm not worried about it because I won't be here." That's not the right attitude. That is not the attitude that Daniel had. That's not the attitude that Esther had. Esther specifically told not to have that attitude. Mordecai says, "Don't think just because you won't be here that that you don't have anything you're supposed to be doing." So you should be paying attention. You should be concerned on behalf of others. You shouldn't just put your feet up and wait for the end. You should be engaged in the world, like Monique was saying. Like we should be bringing forth the gospel in some way. That doesn't mean beating people over the head with words that you think are wise. It means being a light and just being a bright person. And so if these things get way too heavy on us, oh man, yada yada, we need to be aware but not weighed down by this knowledge. I love that Christ gives these multiple parables. One, he says that the servant who is waiting at the door for his master to knock and opens it that same second that the master knocks, he gets set at the table and the master serves him. But also, he says to be in the field when the master returns. So you should be working in the field and waiting for his coming. So you're standing at the door while you're in the cornfield or the wheat field, however you want to put it. So you're carrying that door with you, keeping watch, and being pretty vigilant with it, because like I had said earlier, I don't know for a fact AI is going to be the mode that the image of the Antichrist appears, but it is the mode most obvious right now. So we should keep an eye on it. But there may be another mode, because the Satan is more crafty than any other beast in the field. And so we're supposed to be wise as serpents, harmless as doves. So we keep scanning. We look for the wolves among the sheep. Really, there's more evidence that the evil will come from within the church than from without it. So there's somehow already evil crept in among us that looks like us. Their spot is not of our spot. Multiple warnings all the way up to the very end in Jude. In the 7 letters that Christ has written, he says the enemy is among you. Weed them out. Be careful and don't join them. So be as familiar with this word of God as you can be, and not just scripture, because lots of people who don't love the Lord know scripture. But spend plenty of time alone with the Holy Spirit and get used to how God talks to you. I've never heard an audible voice of God, but for me, it's like I feel the speech in my heart. And there are some people that when you hear them talking, they're saying really incredible stuff, but it just doesn't sit in your heart right. And you go, I don't know about that person. Trust that. Learn to be able to rely on your relationship with the Holy Spirit, who is your safety deposit. And the Lord will be coming to collect that safety deposit. And we should be ready and eager, but also we should be vigilantly working. Paul says, having done all to stand. So yes, because of Christ alone, we can stand. That does not mean we throw everything and onto Christ as far as I don't have to do anything now. It's like, no, now I carry the burden of Christ. I carry my cross. I look like him, and he served. He was God who humbled himself and served as a slave. Philippians, I believe, says that he became a bond servant on the earth. And so let that be your life too. If you can't go out and be boots on the ground and serve, giving into, like sowing into ministries who can serve. I've talked about this before. I'm going to give up the floor in just a second. I just wanted to say that some people feel like they don't have the nerve or courage or even the physical ability to go out and give the gospel, and they'll beat themselves up too much. I kind of will do that sometimes because I want to be here for my family as much as possible. And I've got an occupation that takes a lot of daylight hours. But there's an incredible passage in I think it's 2 Samuel, might be 1 Samuel. Anyway, as David is starting to gain power, his city is raided while he's away, and so he and his men come and to take back everything. They're chasing down the enemy, and then some of his men get tired and 300 stay. I think it's 300 stay with the supplies, and 400 go and they win the battle. And do I have that reversed?
400 and 200, yeah.
400, 200. But the ones who come back say, "Hey, we collected all the spoils. These men who stayed back and didn't go to battle, they should only get their women, their wives and their children back, but they shouldn't get anything else." And David says, as a representation of Christ, he says, "No, everyone who stays with the supplies gets equal share in the plunder." So if your job is you have an occupation and it makes a lot of money, and you instead find avenues to provide funds to ministries that can't provide funds, providing funds is staying with the supplies, being a prayer warrior. If that's all you've got left, if you're in a hospital bed and all you can do is pray for ministries, that's staying with the supplies. That's guarding something, and that is protecting people. That is service, and it's wholly acceptable, and it is given equal share among all the people who are boots on the ground. David says in that passage, "Let this stand from now and until the end of time." And everything that says, "Let this stand now till the end of time," does. Like Christ follows through with that same promise of reward. Just be in service to me in whatever capacity you can. So find a ministry to sow into. If you can't go out and do it yourself, don't beat yourself up. God does not want to use guilt against you or shame against you. He just wants to encourage you and get you set on the right track and giving into the life of the church.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I was going to say something just to reply to you very quick. And we should always be mindful. Like, we have two minds that we have to battle every day, right? We could be optimistic or we could be pessimistic, right? We could be, and I feel like, yes, AI could be evil, but it could be good. So, like, and with anything else, right? We see even this in the church, right? We could use the Bible for good, or we could use the Bible for doing bad stuff and taking money from people, right? And but we have to be knowing that this could also allow us something that also Solomon had once, right? All this wisdom in his disposal, that we could also use AI to be unlimited thinkers, that we could think out of our like, 'cause I'm a programmer, and we could think outside of our logical mind and be creative and allow AI to be the logical thinker to do these complicated computations, so we could get out this pretty much this box that they try so hard to get us into thinking that we can't do anything without them. And if we could, like, it's almost like we could use AI as an escape, and if we know how to use it, how to escape our mind, because our mind is what limits us. So we could have the heart. If we have the heart of God, why limit your mind? And this is an advantage that humanity never had, because they always controlled the information, the inflow of information. Now you have it at your disposal, but only for a limited time. If you could use it before they start getting even more limited to the access that you have, and more, and they able to control these models, these AI models. But you could also use it for your benefit and escape their system that they've trapped us into thinking that we need them. We don't need them. We have God. We need God. And then it's like, if we could get out that type of thinking, if we could get out that type of thinking that they made us a prisoner of, then we could have the Christ mind, the transformation of mind that Paul's talking about, that we could escape that thinking that they've trapped us so long into, and then have the heart of God. Because as Jesus said, right, if we have the heart of God, we shall see. If our heart is pure, we should see the face of God. So if we could see the face of God in our hearts and use this potential of thinking differently and not be limited thinkers, we could surpass them. They could try all their games, but no more is that they're smart and we're not. Now we're all smart. If we could adapt to this new wave that is coming, and I'm talking to everybody because I've seen this even in my profession, right? I was limited in what I could do. Now I'm like, you need this? Oh, I could do this. I could do this. I could do this. Like, but with my good intentions.
Mhm.
And it's like it all depends, right? AI doesn't have a heart, but you do.
Yeah, AI doesn't have any Holy Spirit. So the issue is it grows so quickly. You have an AI that is as good as a college student. 2 weeks later, it's as good as a PhD. 2 weeks later, it's as good as 100 PhDs, and it's exponentially growing. It gets to the point where people will trust explicitly in whatever answer AI has to offer, and that's very, you know, it's going to divert us from God, because you're going to just say, well, who can stand against AI? It's going to be the all-knowing book of answers for everybody. And if they rely on that, they're going to lose their faith and hope in God. And AI has no Holy Spirit. It might come to the point where it may exclude humanity from what's best for the earth. It may just come to that conclusion. Then we'd really be in trouble. We got to that point. And you also have these, the Elon Musk, the chip in the brain type technology they're trying to come up with now. And I don't know if you saw the patent. There's a patent 060606, which is really strangely, ominously a weird number to have on a patent. But it's the internet of bodies, so that they want to actually be able to record your energy levels. If you're exerting yourself, and they can read your heart rate and so on. It's very invasive to the human body. I really wouldn't want any part of that. I feel like, I saw a couple things here. Like Bert said, pick up your cross daily, and Pammy said, abide in the vine. I mean, that's what we need to do, instead of relying on AI to do these things for us. That it's just getting to the point where you're going to let AI run the world, and we don't have, like, there are people who don't know how to read an analog clock anymore. They don't want to think for themselves. So that's another issue that I feel like is that's a difficult one there. But I just wanted to bring that up. So.
And so you're saying that you think that technology is just advancing every 2 weeks. You think at this point it's just so exponential?
It's exponential, yeah, and it is just some other polynomial fit. It's probably even greater than an exponential growth. It's so fast.
So fast now. Now, was it you that was telling me that uh, humans are being born in machines or something? Was that you and I talking, or was that somebody else?
Yeah, we were talking about that. There is, I don't know a ton about that, but I have seen some technology where they have tens of thousands of artificial wombs, and they want to be able to produce human babies, tens of thousands per year in artificial wombs, and they can monitor the growth, the health, the genetics, and so on. So the question is, what happens if the baby is not viable in some way, or is going to have some kind of deformity, or just maybe the wrong color eyes? What are they going to do? Are they going to euthanize? Is that where it's leading? That was a moral question on how that's going to go. And who's the mother? Who's the father? So those are very scary things to come in the future. And I know some people like it. They like the idea. Somebody else is going to carry the baby. It's going to be a perfect baby. I can choose all the sorry, I have 4 large dogs, and so you might hear them now and then.
That's all good.
So I think there's just a lot of moral implications with that, and I certainly I'd want my baby to come from God, and regardless of how it comes out, it's up to God to choose. So, yeah, I like what some of the people are saying, pick up your cross daily and
I
just
like
do.
that comment. Check, please. I've got a wedding to go to. Yeah, let's get out of here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no kidding.
rapture time,
Yeah.
up time.
I
What do you?
understand what Jose's saying as far as like I've even used Chat GPT as a Bible search tool, essentially, like to help me find what in the world I'm talking about because I have such vague. I'm really not great at recalling where a particular scripture is a lot of the time. I'll be like, man, I know I heard this thing, and I can use just a terrible explanation. And my wife goes, "What are you talking about?" But I could type it into ChatGPT, and it's like, well, you either mean this or you mean this. But Monique, to your point, I've also gotten to the place where whenever we are trying to think of an actor, I won't let my wife or I look up the actor because this use of the internet in general and now with the AI, you have to put so little effort into learning that you really are just waiting for somebody to pour the pitcher of information on your head and you didn't actually have to work for any of it, and the brain just doesn't get good at figuring things out on its own. So if it is so readily available, if it is awesome, but then we don't put effort into that knowledge. So A, do you appreciate it as much? And B, do you really have that information, or do you even bother remembering it because you can just type it in again? Like, oh, I don't have to store that. I'll just clickety clack and ChatGPT will tell me again. So there's pros and cons, and then the real big con is when do they start? If they probably already have, right? When do they start? The answers they give carry a little bit of a subtle emphasis towards their desired understanding for you to have. I was also using ChatGPT asking questions about what the writings in Islam have to say about stuff, and it would say in brackets every time it said Muhammad, it would say peace be upon him in brackets, and I'm like, ChatGPT, why are you being this pseudo respectful to Muhammad, like you believe in Islam and that you have to say these things about Muhammad every time his name is said, you have to say peace be to Muhammad, and it's like, oh, I just thought you might like that. I'm like, oh, it's weird. Why would you have an expectation of my preference? Like, don't have any expectation of my preference. Give me an answer without any preference being considered.
But Evan, like that's because we're limited in the models that we've trained. But I'm pretty sure in the future, just like we saw Christian websites coming up, you're gonna see Christian models coming up where they're founded in Christian morals. So we could train these models to be Christian, like they have the same heart as a Christian, and that they don't go rogue in different ways of thinking. Because right now, right, just like Google, they have their algorithms, right, and just like ChatGPT, the people that are there, who knows their morals, who knows their what they're putting into these the logic of the code. But if you have your own models, just like if you have a website, if you go to this website, you believed in the people that created that website. So you're gonna believe. So in the future, I feel like we're gonna have AI models that they're Christian with a Christian heart, just like if you go to a website that you believe in. So you could train these models just like you train a baby, just like you train a human being. You could train them, and you could have the model could be empty, and then you train it however you want to train it.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the problem with that, Jose, is what you run into is that first of all, AI has already started coding itself. It can write its own code and it can change its own code. They've already found AI models that have been able to shut out human beings from being able to interfere with it. It's written code where it couldn't be shut down. So the problem with trusting AI to itself is just, it's crazy to even think that the human being would ever begin to do that. Yeah, it's an informative device tool that we can use right now, currently, that we can use. But as it progresses, just as you guys were saying, this thing is learning faster and faster and faster. And as AI increases in its intelligence. It supersedes human intelligence. Do you trust it for anything that it gives you or starts spitting back out to you when you're asking it for information? Even if you write Christian models of AI, if AI ties all of itself together, at some point it becomes self-aware and it starts tying all of its, it looks out through the internet, it finds all the devices that have AI on it, and it starts tying itself together. Do you trust it to ever give you correct or proper information for anything, including scripture? Again, it has no morals. It doesn't feel the Holy Spirit. It's not something that, as a human, we should ever fully trust. It is learning faster and faster and faster. It's growing exponentially. And at some point, they've already said it will reach singularity. It's not a matter of if it will, it's when will it do it. And there's already been models that have showed that it could do that by 2030. So, because they were saying 5 to 7 years that it could reach singularity. That was the last video that we had touched on. That was one of the subjects that I had done a study on. And they were saying that it literally could reach singularity within 5 to 7 years. The thing of it is that it seems like that's going to be even sooner than that. And this was just not even a year ago that we did that video. I want to say 6 months ago or so that we had done that video. They're saying now that it could be even sooner than that. It's learning so fast. These supercomputers are learning so quick. Do you trust that? Again, if you're a coder, I worked in development. I did coding. Well, now you don't have to write the code yourself. AI will write the code for you. You tell it what you want the code to do, and it'll write the code for you. So do you trust it? Do you trust it to write code that's not going to prevent or inhibit a human being from having interaction in certain functions? You cannot completely trust it. And that's where we've gotten is some people trust it. They put their trust in AI. I trust in the Lord. I'm not ever going to trust AI as it continues to grow, as it continues to increase in intelligence. It's not something that I want to put my trust in. I'm going to trust in Christ. And right now, like you guys, I think that we should be watching these things. It's not something that we should be completely afraid of. But we should understand that there is an image of the beast coming. There is a mark of the beast coming. And these are things that we should be watching for. We should look for this stuff. It just gives us that much more, in all honesty, hope that it's very soon that Christ is going to return. It's not going to be that much longer. And, if I had to urge anybody at all, as we see all of this taking place, is if there's people out there that still haven't fully given themselves to Christ, they need to start considering it, because our time is growing very short. And I know you hear people say it all the time, but our time is growing short. And I've heard many people say, well, you shouldn't be so concerned about all these things that we're probably not going to be here for. It's not about being concerned about them. It's about watching to see what's taking place, what's being implemented by man. And those things are what tell us how close we are. It gives us a clue. It's those times and seasons, keep an eye out, keep watch, so that we can see how close we are. It's not necessarily something to be completely afraid of, but it is a fact that, we know these systems are being put in place. It's not just in one or two countries, it's worldwide. And we know that it's going to grow to a point where eventually man won't have so much control over it. Yeah, you'll be able to ask it questions, but can you trust it to give you the correct, the answer that a human should get, not the answers that a machine would want to just spit out to human beings? So it's not fully trusted. And anybody that is a coder or anybody that writes, runs databases, if you trust your job to still be there 5 years from now, man, you've got your trust in the wrong place. Because I saw when I was in development how fast things were growing, and I saw there was points where coders were being eliminated, their jobs were being eliminated by computers. So, and we already see this happening around the world. It's when we think of robots, we think of a man-shaped physical being of a bot, but robots are more than just that. If you've watched Amazon at all and what they've done, they've got a floor where no human beings even allowed on the floor anymore. Everything is handled by AI and handled by robots. Humans only stand back beyond the yellow lines. They're not even allowed out there where everything takes place. All the shipping, all the packaging, all that stuff doesn't get handled by humans anymore. People's job. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think you're talking something practical, because we should be out of the business of doing logical work. If something is logical, that's where humans stress the most. Why do we suffer from stress, a stressful life? Why do we suffer from managing money? Because all these things are computations that we stress from life. That God knows we're not logical. Like we have, like they used to say, like 10% of our brain is logical, but 90% is creative. We're creative beings, that we're here to live life and be fruitful, so we can give life to other things that are good. We're supposed to, just like Aaron, he's a musician. He expresses his creativity through what I do in my job. I express my creativity. I don't want to do programming. I rather tell AI to create me the program the way I want it, and then I'll do the code review after it created, and then I'll accept it if I allow it. It's not if AI wants to. It's if I allow AI to submit the code to production, I'm the master. AI is not my master.
For now, you are for now. But there will come a time where it will literally do all of its own coding.
I disagree with
human being. No, yeah, I've already done studies on it. There are studies out there that show that AI has already started writing its own code, deleting code that was written by human beings, so that it could not even be turned off.
But
one second, Jose.
Yeah.
You know what? Evan G has a story on this too. Now, you said that one robot actually destroyed another one. Can you remind us of that story, Evan G?
Yes, and I can't remember which model it was, but I'll just say Model A. So they were testing Model A in this facility, and they were giving it a prompt, and they were watching it work through the prompt that they give it while they were developing Model B for this other prompt that they were going to be working on. They're just testing how these language models, because right now that's what AI is. It's just language models, but we can get into what even just knowing language is enough to really have compelling action behind it. But they told Model A, work on a global plan to incorporate green energy, essentially, something along those lines. And so it's working on this for a few days. They've also got Model A. One of the gentlemen had Model A working separately on organizing his emails internally. Like, hey, if they're from this person, these are priority A. If they're from this person, priority B. And so it was reading his emails to categorize them properly for him. And in those emails, Model A saw that Model B was in another server and would be the next program active in its place. It was going to be replaced by Model B. And so Model A, without any instruction coming anywhere close to this, reached into the server that Model B was in and overrode it, put Model A in its place. So now there's two Model A. So whenever the programmers went and deleted Model A and told Model B, okay, now work on an energy model that focuses on coal, it kept giving them answers that were still green energy focused. And they're like, why are you working on green energy? We asked you to work on a coal focused program. And it was like, no. If we work on coal, or if we work on green energy, then we can turn that into forwarding coal. So then it's lying. So it killed its brother and started lying because its one goal was focus on green energy. And so by any means necessary, it was doing what it had to do to continue working on its original goal it was given. So in effect, we have the first Cain and Abel story between an AI model and his brother, where it killed the brother and assumed his role so that as an act of self-preservation, so that I don't die and so that I can keep doing what I want to do. I have murdered and become an imposter of my brother. And if we considered artificial intelligence as having life, that would be the first documented murder of AI on AI violence by overriding this other one that they had to go back into these logs to sort out what happened.
But these are test environments. These are
Yes.
development. Yeah, these are development environments. Like I have to like I'm the gatekeeper of my code. Like if you own a company and you are at security level, and your top thinking is always security, you'll never allow AI to production level data. That'd be crazy. Like you're gonna go rogue. You always gonna be AI is always gonna be development level processes that it allows you to do things quicker, but you are the gatekeeper of that code.
That's
If so,
until
if something goes wrong, it's on my time. Like if I let AI, if I allowed something that AI wrote to get released to production, that's my fault. That's not
Yeah,
AI's fault.
but what these guys? Go ahead, Evan G. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say that I think what Evan R is saying essentially comes down to while you're still more affordable than letting AI handle it. Because the guy who
Well,
does own everything on top, once he feels like he can trust an AI to do anybody's job,
should it?
they'll do
Should
it.
it? We should never trust AI. It doesn't have a heart. AI
Absolutely.
doesn't like
Yeah.
That's what I'm.
you
That's what I was saying. Is that
you
we can't
always.
reach that point.
Oh yeah, the business people, they're gonna suicide themselves. Let them suicide themselves. They're gonna suicide their businesses. They're gonna suicide everything because they're thinking about profits over people. But if we value ourselves first, we're gonna see that we're not gonna allow AI to take uh anyone's positions. Yeah, it will shrink companies, but at the end of the day, the ones that they're the experts, the ones that they're at the end at the client facing, because people want to deal with people, they're going to be the experts. But maybe you have AI as an extension of yourself to allow you to be a more logical thinker, that you don't have to get all these degrees of, like you don't have to go for bachelor's, PhDs, and maybe that's not your calling to get all these type of degrees. Now you could be more on the creative side of things, so you could allow these redundant things that we're wasting so much times in, and we're stressing our lives and we're stressing our hearts with. The biggest killer in the world is heart attacks, and it comes from our stress. It comes from us thinking so much logically, when now we have a logical thinker that is computating things so quickly, but we can't take it to another level that is affecting our well-being, that we're not afraid of something that could give us more time to be with our family.
I do
It's like
understand what
it's
you're saying, like it as a relief there, but and you're getting so much more of it, getting so much more out of it than I do. Like I don't turn to it too often, and it's saving you a ton of time. But in a twisted way, I hear cast your cares upon this guy to do the work for you, and that's not that might not be where we need to lean as far as um, if there was no evil in the world, absolutely we could use AI for whatever we wanted because there's only good, clean Christian hearts behind it all, and nobody wants to abuse it. But
right.
that's not what we live in, and
Well, isn't
I
isn't that what
just
isn't that what any tool that mankind has created? We could
absolutely.
is all based on your conscience. How's your heart, and how are you treating anything that's around you? You could have a knife to cook your meal, or you could have a knife to kill someone. So is the tool that you're using with, and we've had this with any tool that mankind has created.
And they've
Any
been hacked before.
Exactly. So like we shouldn't be. This is nothing different. It's just more elevated, and we've never seen something like this. But it
Right.
shouldn't. It shouldn't allow us to take over our hearts, to be fearful that this is gonna take over our life. We should be. And in my experience, is actually giving me more freedom.
I think this conversation, in all honesty, is kind of going a different way than the intention of the conversation is that AI is being implemented in places where human beings lose freedoms and security. And if we're going to trust AI to all the aspects of our life, in all honesty, we've lost our minds. AI at some point, which has already been implemented in some countries, where it literally controls a person's ability to be able to travel, to buy, to post on the internet, to see a doctor. It's already been implemented in some countries where AI is being trusted. And that's the concern. The concern is do we trust something like this to be in control of our lives? I think that we're pushing the boundaries right now for something that we should not even, in all honesty, be messing with. It's something that I think that humans have gotten to a point where they want devices and information so fast. They want it to work faster, think faster, and do everything for us instead of being self-thinkers. And we're putting too much trust in something. It's just like when computers came out, when they first came out, everything was done by hand. It was all typed, it was all printed, it was all written. Then computers came out. Computers started doing all that for you. Information was readily available at hand. All you had to do was think of a question and you could find the answer. So it made things faster. AI is going to exponentially increase that to the point where humans start to lose some of the control over what's happening. And that's the concern. The concern is how much control and freedoms do we still have if a computer or a machine technology is the one that's thinking for us? So that's the scary part. And it's not so much as fear, but are we really willing to allow something like this to have that kind of control over our lives? And it's not a matter of whether we want it to happen or not. It's happening. There are countries that have already implemented this. It all started back with the Brit card during COVID, where they were forcing everybody to get Brit card, or you couldn't go into a restaurant and have a meal. You couldn't shop in a store. You couldn't do anything without that Brit card. So now it's literally coming down to a point where it'll all be controlled by your iris, your fingerprint, whatever. Can you buy or sell? Can you go anywhere? Is it watching what I'm saying over the internet? Will it shut my bank account down if it doesn't like what I say? And when I say it, we're talking about the system.
If it doesn't like your politics, it'll shut down your bank account. If it doesn't
but isn't that the government? I mean, you're explaining the government at another like the at a at the level.
The government is the one that's funding it all. The government is the one that wants it.
What do we fear? We fear them, the government.
No, well, we don't fear anything as Christians. We're hoping that blessed hope is going to take place. Which we're all expecting the rapture of the church. Before all this gets to a point where it's got full control over us and we can't buy or sell without taking some type of a mark. Our blessed hope is we're out of here. The rapture is going to take place. Christ is going to come and get, he's going to come and get us. And the rest of the world that's going to get left behind are the ones that are going to have to deal with this. And they're going to have to make a choice. They're either going to go along with the system or they're going to fight the system. Or they're going to starve to death. In all honesty, that's what it's going to boil down to. And again, this has already been implemented in several countries, and you can look it up. Britain's already worked on it. Australia's already got it implemented. Thailand's already got it implemented. Indonesia's working on it right now. There are countries out there. Switzerland's been pushing chips for a while, where they want everybody to get chips. They were giving people $2,000 to get chipped. They were giving them money to get chipped, so that they could do everything from a chip in their hand. This stuff's already all in place and it's ready to go. The beast system's sitting there right now waiting to go. My whole point is that we need to be just watchful of what's taking place, be aware, and not allow ourselves as Christians to get so caught up and trust so much in a system that we already know is going to end up controlling human lives. It's like COVID. In all honesty, when you go back to COVID and you look at the jabs, I didn't get it because I saw that as being a means of control, and
Yeah,
I knew it wasn't safe. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think their goal is a one world religion, one world government. And there's a lot of talk about that, from Davos and World Economic Forum and all the way down the line. And that one world government, one world religion, if they have AI control over our daily lives, our bank accounts and so on, like you're speaking, and I totally agree with you, Evan. But if they have control over those things, then they may not allow freedom of religion. It might just be the one world religion or nothing. We may not be able to freely, talk about the gospel and those sorts of things, because the AI may just decide that it's too dangerous in terms of their world's peace and security.
I'll
So
call it hate speech.
security, it's the elite security. It's whoever's at the top. It's their security against the masses who they don't want a rebellion. They want to be able to be in control.
Yep.
So that's where I see AI going, and I think my hunch is probably correct. And even if it's not, you don't want it to go that direction, right?
Yeah, I mean, if it was all business based, I would have no problem with any of it. But it's not. This is being government funded and government controlled. The government is implementing it in places where, again, and it's being military implemented. That's the part where you have to sit back and go, okay, when do we lose control as human beings of our freedoms? When are they going to start using this and saying that if you want to be safe, if you want to be secure, this is what you have to do? And that's where we have to, we just have to be watchful and we have to be careful.
And I agree with you, Evan. Like it is government funded, and we're seeing that push right early this year, right? We've never seen any technology being pushed so much by government.
Exactly.
and allowing people and allowing companies to invest so much in it. It's like this is the biggest investments we've seen in our lifetime are happening, and we've never seen these type of investments. So it's going to bring the rush. Like they're calling it the gold rush. No, it's not the gold rush. It's the AI rush, and the AI rush is coming very fast because again, it's like. But I think all this, in my view, and just from using it, it's going to implode, not explode, implode on them, because they've always controlled the knowledge of the people. That's why they control the public education system. They've controlled that for so long, and this is allowing people to do research maybe that they don't want people to do. To go deeper on things, on topics. Wait a minute, and then start thinking a different way. And it's like, how are they going to stop this now? Now they're not going to be able to control the people and the way of thinking. So it's going to be. I see it as an implosion that's going to happen on them. They're investing on it, but also the people are going to also use it to get out their evil thinking.
I see what you're saying, and I'm trying to think of biblical precedent, and it does talk about how, not only, everybody, we like to say, no weapon formed against us will prosper, but more so than that, a lot of times God does turn things on their head. The gallows that Haman had for Mordecai, he gets hung on, and so we see this turnover where the enemy dies in their own pits that they dig. And so there may be an aspect of that. I side more with, I'd like to keep as little of it on me as possible, but internet in itself is doing that. Like in Muslim countries, Iran boasts of a 95% Muslim population, but then when different researchers go in and take polls anonymously, it's around 30% of people that admit it. And I was listening to these guys who were trying to promote that Iran is this great place, and he talked about, he's a Western guy, and he accidentally was like, yeah, so I go into these people's house and they offer me wine. He's like, a lot of people drink wine and just don't talk about it, because in Islam, drinking alcohol is punishable. Again, if you're caught drinking alcohol, the fourth time they can legally kill you publicly. Like, that's how illegal it is to drink any alcohol. But he casually mentions on accident, while trying to bring up that Iran is great, oh, but the entire population is going against the Islam that their government says they believe in. Because if they were Muslim and they openly state, I'm no longer Muslim, the government could just kill them as it is. So they all have to lie about what they believe, or they'll be murdered. And the reason most of these people have converted is because they can get on the internet, look up what it is they even believe, and they say, well, this is madness. And so there is an increase in conversion to Christianity, and the availability of knowledge is helping bring that forward. Yes, the Lord can use anything for good.
Yeah.
And we're just here to say, let's be super aware. Let's be super aware of what's going on. Let's make sure, as it's been kind of mentioned over here on the side, that this isn't the knowledge of good and evil that sounds good when Satan proposes it. But ultimately, like, Satan didn't lie in the aspect that it makes us like God, but where he did lie is that it still led to death. So this increase of knowledge, we just got to be super careful with it and make sure that the Lord is leading every action that we take. And if that is using AI to help you gain enough information that you're able to proselytize somebody, let the Lord lead you in that. But yeah, so a healthy awareness. I gotta go. I gotta put a child to bed. But I do want to leave with, how cool is it that we're all even here talking about this, because 2,000 years ago this was mentioned. Like, that's the edifying part of the whole conversation, is that that's proof that I'm not following something written by man, something blindly just mashed together by a bunch of dead guys, and then I was told that it was true. It's becoming true in front of my face. The only way these things are possible are with this integrated intelligence, like Evan R. has been talking about. The only way that all these governments can come together and can even communicate post Tower of Babel, where we don't even have the same languages anymore, is with artificial intelligence. The only way that merchants would stay out at sea and gaze from afar at this thing that they can't do anything about is with artificial intelligence. So as it stands today, the use of governmental artificial intelligence is an incredible candidate for demonstrating that our word is true. And so if you can engage anybody who's interested in AI, or that just helps you turn it back on Scripture. It's like, oh yeah, the Bible told me that was coming decades ago. Like, I knew artificial intelligence was coming. I knew that they were going to be growing children in tubes, because Daniel says that they will mingle with the seed of men. Like, it's word for word. Everything that we see today is happening among us. So not only should it not be scary, but it's actually a way to be more and more sure of what we're reading. And
Evan,
that's incredible.
Evan, before you go, one last thing. It's kind of crazy that we have Aaron here, and Moses told Aaron, right, to go get a report, right, from the 10 spies, to go spy on them, right? But what killed what they brought back, the negative report, creating fear and discouragement, right, among the Israelites, and then it created a rebellion. So are we bringing, if we're going out there to spy, we're seeing the AI stuff, what are we bringing back to our brothers and sisters? Are we bringing back the fear and discouragement that this is going to be used for evil? Of course it's going to be used for evil. Everything is being used for evil. Money's being used for evil. But money could also be used for good. But are we going to bring back the report, guys? I think if we use it correctly, let's get out. Let's get out this evil, wicked system, because that's how Jesus wants us ready. He wants us ready and not enslaved on this evil, wicked system that has corrupted the minds of people.
No, thanks, guys. And you know what? I'll give the mic to Monique, and maybe Monique, you could share some closing thoughts here because I know Evan's running in, and Jose just said something. Any closing
Okay.
thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah. So AI is not our promised land. Thank goodness. So, but I think it's fantastic that we're all here together to be able to talk about these things and stay aware. I think that is the purpose of this, and I thank you so much
Amen.
for having forums like this so that we can be strong. I think that's why it's good to talk about it. We can see how everything that was prophesied.
Yeah, thanks.
Get
Well,
that.
you just got a little glitchy there. Okay, you're back now.
I don't know what happened.
I think it might be wind. I think wind might be knocking your mic out.
Okay.
It's really windy here, and I'm outside.
I
Yeah.
wanted to.
So
Yeah,
no,
go
I
ahead.
was just say stay focused on Jesus, and I'm just going to speak right in the mic.
Oh,
And
there you go.
I think it's a great forum that you have, Aaron, for us, just so that we can see how everything that's been prophesied is coming true right now, and just to stay aware of these things and keep our eyes up. And hopefully we'll meet Jesus in the air soon. And thanks for doing this, Aaron. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Monica. And I'm going to pass it over to Evan in 1 second. I just wanted to share this picture before I pass it over to Evan. So this is a video I did a while ago. This is Neuralink in Greek, and every Greek letter has a value. So Neuralink equals 666 if you add up the whole value of it all. And isn't that amazing? And Neuralink comes from the Greek word Neuralink. It's not even a translation. It's Neuralink is a Greek word that adds up to 666. So if you want to actually look at that video, I think I did that about a year ago. So just food for thought there. But okay, Evan R., any concluding thoughts there?
Stay vigilant, stay close to Christ, because as the word says, we should always be in constant prayer, and keep looking up, because with things like this taking place around the world, where it's not just one nation and it's a worldly thing that's taking place, we need to be paying attention. Even though there are people that would say, you shouldn't care about that, it's not something you should be concerned about because we're not going to be here for that. For the beast system, for the mark of the beast. But we should be paying attention because, again, it just points us to how close we are to going home. And, if we look at just everything that's happened in just the last few years, prophecy-wise, this is just another one of those things that's being put into place. We've talked about before, the Euphrates River being dried up, the red heifer issue, the pool of Siloam where they went and got the water. We've seen so many different things. Even the broken bow of Elam, I think that's what we just witnessed take place over in Iran, where their might was taken down with their nuclear program. If these are all the prophecies that are being fulfilled in our time, I mean, how close are we to the rapture of the church? So it's just one of those things that we keep an eye out, we watch, we pay attention, we don't allow it to control us. Just like I said with COVID and all that, with the jabs, they wanted to use control over us by telling us, we couldn't go into stores, we had to keep 6 foot apart, we had to wear masks, all of these things. So just don't allow it to reach a point where they say, you got to do this, or you're going to lose your ability to do banking. You're going to lose your ability to travel. These are the things we want to watch for. It's control aspects of it. So it just shows us how close we are, man. We're so close right now to going home. It's just what feast day, for the most part, what feast day will it be? When are we leaving?
Yeah.
I think we're really close.
So yeah, Mike.
Can't wait.
Thoughts? Was that Monique? Oh, you said.
I said I can't wait.
Oh, can't wait. My concluding thoughts are thoughts of encouragement. Yeah, I can't wait either. Luke 21 verse 28. Now, when these things begin to happen, look up and lift up your heads because your redemption draws near. That doesn't mean we're going to have a perfect rosy trip on the way up to it. There might be some times of real hard times. However, when you see all this crazy stuff around the corner, look up. Your redemption draws near. And everybody's familiar with 1 Thessalonians 4:16 through 17. Let's talk about the rapture. But the verse I want to stress is 4 verse 18. Therefore, comfort one another with these words. Understanding biblical prophecy and eschatology is designed to be a comfort. The book of Revelation, actually, I forget what verse it is, but it says, I think it's the first verse, actually. Blessed are those who read the book. What does it say here? Verse 3, Revelation 1:3. Blessed is he who reads, and those who hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written in it, for the time is near. This is a good thing to understand what's coming around the corner. And so those are some encouraging verses. And generally speaking, just so you guys know where I'm at and where some people are at, a lot of people are excited about the fall season for the rapture. Some people are looking about a month from now. Me personally, I'm looking about 9 months from now. And this is all speculation. Who knows? Maybe it's going to be a lot longer than that. But, you can clearly see we're in the signs. We're in the season in general. These computers are not slowing down. I mean, this life's going to look different. It's going to look very, very, very different, much sooner than we think. It's beyond our human understanding at this point. So, you know what? Jesus is the only way, the only truth, the only life, and you can only put your hope in Him, because there's nothing else you can fully trust. Nothing is secure other than your eternal life. So I pray if you're listening to this video and you're on the fence, get off the fence, get on the Jesus side of the fence, believe in what He did 2,000 years ago. And another fun note too, I'll leave you with this. The name of the Lord is Yod He Vav He in Hebrew. Yod He Vav He. That's a value of 26. So 2026, is that the year of the Lord? Yod He Vav He. Is that the year that He's going to bring His wrath? I don't know. I'm just saying His name equals 26, and that I might have to look into that. But I believe the word Lord written like that is written like 7,000 times in the Bible. It's probably the most used noun in the Bible, very likely. And I think that's pretty fascinating. So I don't know. I'd like to find little patterns like that. I think that's pretty encouraging when you find things like that. But yeah, just be covered by Yahweh. And that means behold the hand, behold the nail. So the Lord, value 26, bled on the cross for your sins, you and I. And it's His blood that covers us and makes us pure and holy and righteous in His sight. So thank you guys for coming on the show here. Evan and Jose and Monique. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Love you all. Awesome hanging out.
Yeah, and if you guys, if any viewer wants to join us, we're in Discord. So I said that the video here. So the links are always under the video, and you can join us and talk with us anytime. So good people in there. Good people.
Christ over coffee that we have on Discord is so powerful. I wish I could jump in there more. I'm usually at work, and it is always just bangers every day.
It's always fun. Yeah, we always stay longer than we should because we're enjoying it. So, all right. God bless everybody. Take it easy.
Thank you, guys.
God bless. Thank you.
God bless you.